Hey guys, welcome back to the Kings of Legacy show. And today is a special one, and it's probably one of my favorite areas to be talking about, and it's change. And with today's title, what we're going to be going over on today's show is if nothing changes, nothing changes. And it's something I've actually said quite a few times recently, and it's so basic, yet so true. And I want to share a couple of experiences in my life and in ways that I, in times that I've had to make changes, and hopefully it'll be able to unpack a couple of golden nuggets for you today to take away and implement in your own world. So first off, to make any kind of change possible, there needs to be some kind of mindset shift. When you are starting to think about a change and what needs to happen in order for you to make a change, you essentially need to start to change your thinking. Because when you start to change your own thinking, it will change your actions and therefore your outcomes. And I want to share a quick story on this real quick. I'm originally from England, and for the last 12, 13 years now, I've been living here in Perth, Australia. And as a huge, you'll have to forgive me here, but as a huge generalization, the belief I had, and I know a lot of people around me in my hometown had as well, was that it was just ridiculously hard, borderline impossible to get residency in either Australia or the United States. And, you had to be some kind of brain surgeon, or you had to be on track to be like the next NASA computer scientist. So, albeit a lot of people, myself included, actually really dislike my hometown and England in general as a place to live, but they had and I had like a really strong belief that they couldn't live in the US or Oz because they wouldn't be able to get in. And I reference the US and Oz because it's generally got a few beaches and it's English speaking, so it's really nice for us English folk. Now, if you keep hold of that belief, so if you fully believe that it's borderline impossible to get in, what is the likelihood that you would take any action towards the outcome that you want? What's the likelihood that you're going to start to look in any capacity that you have options here? It's almost zero, right? Like, what is the point? If it's impossible, it's impossible. You've got that belief. So I decided that, you know what, I think it's worth a Google search, right? Some people have done it, so it must be possible. I kind of started to have that mindset shift around it. So I did a simple Google search of like, how do I live in Australia? And sure enough, there was a page there that was advertising a year's holiday working visa. And I thought to myself, like, bingo, cool. So I checked out the criteria and realized that I could apply for it. Then I did a little bit more digging into the different types of visas and criteria required in order to apply. And I realized that there were actually loads of different types of visas. So I've gone from having this belief that borderline impossible to realizing there's actually heaps of different options and opportunities to make it happen one way or another. So after landing here in Australia, I knew that straight away, pretty much, I knew that I wanted to stay here a lot longer than a year. So once again, I went on a hunt. What are my options here? I came across the option of a second year's holiday visa. So you essentially go and live and work on a farm for 3 months, and then you get like another year. So I was like, you know what? Awesome. That's an option. That gives me another year. And I was really fortunate, and I got employed very early on by an absolutely beautiful couple who run a gym here in Perth, and they were actually happy to sponsor me on a different visa again to stay, like a working visa. Amazing, right? Then I found out, did a little bit more research again, and I found out that you only have to live in Australia for 4 years before I could apply for permanent residency off my own back. Bingo. Amazing. So all of a sudden, I didn't need to be a brain surgeon or like a NASA computer scientist. And the point I want to make here is that if I would have kept that belief right in the beginning, I would never have actually taken that first step, that first Google search. I would have never have even started to look for it if I would have kept that belief. A change in thinking can lead to changes in actions and outcomes. I really want that to sell for you today. Now, with change, yes, you are going to be stepping out of your comfort zone. You will have some emotions when you are doing this, and it's completely normal. Whether you are stepping out your comfort zone to launch the new business or the new business venture that you've always wanted, whether you're stepping out of your comfort zone and actually being vulnerable to maybe your wife or your partner and actually telling them what is going on for you and how you are feeling, sharing some emotions. Whatever the situation is, if you are truly making a change, there will be some kind of emotions that pop up for you. And I want you to know that it's okay. Ask yourself one question. What is actually the worst thing that can happen? What are we actually really talking about here? We're actually talking about overcoming the fear of failure. So with that, what if the new business venture just bombs? What if your wife doesn't really understand? What if? So overcoming this fear of failure, and just catch yourself in this moment and think to yourself, have I actually ever failed before in anything in my life? Ask yourself that question, and you might be like, scratch your head and be like, hang on a minute. Well, I lost that footy final when I was a kid, and yes, you did. And what did you learn in about yourself in the process? Well, maybe you learned that you didn't quit, like you were getting absolutely hammered, you were 40 points down, and you were still working your ass off all the way to the siren. So you learned something about yourself in the process. Remember, failure is not fatal. It's actually a part of the process. You only actually fail when you stop trying. And if you try something and it didn't work, you didn't fail. You just have found another way to not get to your desired outcome. If you can have that shift, that mindset shift, that is such a profound shift in thinking that it will absolutely change a lot of things in your world. And I know it has for me. So get over the fear of failure and start doing. And I just want to wrap this up by sharing a little bit of a story. Like, imagine if Thomas Edison gave up trying to produce the very first light bulb. Imagine if he just did it once and said, cool, it didn't work, I'm a failure. Imagine if that actually happened. Thomas Edison was done after one go. Would we even have like light bulbs today? Who knows? But we do know that he didn't give up. And we do know because we do have lights now. And the way he obviously saw failure was that he just learned another way to not make a light bulb. And he went on to experience this same feeling another, like, as the myth goes, or as the story goes, another 998 times before cracking the code and producing the light bulb. And we worry about failing once. This guy went on and did it like almost 1,000 failures before he cracked it. So remember, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And let's understand that we might need to shift some beliefs. We are going to have to get out of our comfort zone, and we're going to have to embrace failure to get the life that we truly want. Guys, thanks for tuning in today. And until next time, remember, fuck small talk. Life's too short for it, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.